Today we're going to talk about the size of your canvas, whether it's the right size for the artwork, right size for you, the right size for your client, and we're going to give you some pretty good tips on how to make sure that they are. So when it comes down to whether it's the right size for you, that's going to have a lot to do with what sort of personality you have or what type of a person you are as an artist. Like, I tend to be rather emotionally enthusiastic about the subject matter that I choose, where some other artists may be very practical about how they go about their practice and what sizes they use and whether it's efficient and effective in their cost control and all that kind of thing. They may use the same size canvas all the time, who knows? So then whether it's right for the art, well, if you've got a really nice horizontal landscape, but you're used to always doing a very rectangle, sort of squared-ish canvas, then it's going to be more problematic or challenging for you to put a long, lovely landscape on that particular canvas. So then that canvas would not be right for that particular image. Now, whether or not it's right for our client, well, that can vary. Maybe they don't know what's right for them. For example, they might have this notion in their head that a 2-foot by 3-foot painting is so big, or even a 16 by 20 or something like that. And they've got this really nice size wall at home, but in their mind, when it comes to artwork, they're thinking about how a 2-foot by 3-foot is really big. It's just a perception that you need to help them through so that they can have artwork that really will impact their lives if they have space for a larger dynamic piece of artwork that they could get a lifetime of pleasure from. So there's a variety of things to consider, whether it's right for you, the artist, and your personality and what matters to you, whether it's right for your client, and whether it's right for the artwork itself, the image that you're trying to represent as a work of art. Now, I'm just going to give you a little bit of example here, but later in the video, I want you to know that I'm going to clip into another segment that I did on location in a client's office, where I used a rather unique way to determine which of 3 options were the right size for his space. So stick around and you'll see that. All right, so I want you to see this little doll. This is a cute little doll that I got at an antique store. My wife and I were at that store, and she kind of collects dolls. She was looking in a cabinet, and I turned and looked at another cabinet, and this little gal was standing there just looking at me, kind of like she had some sort of knowing expression and had some kind of feeling about it. You can see the size of the doll. Now, I called my wife over. I said, Nettie, come look at this. And she came over, she looked at it, and I said, what do you think of this doll? She said, it's a nice doll. And I said, well, I really want to paint a picture of it. Do you mind if I buy it? And she said, well, do I get to keep the doll afterwards? And I said, of course. And so we both end up happy. So now, how can we determine what would be the size that would be good for this doll? Size of painting, what size of canvas would it fit on? If it's going to be sitting down like this, it might be a rectangle size would work. If we shake it around, get it oriented so it's more in a standing position, or if it's at an angle, or however we're going to position it, that will certainly have an effect on the size of canvas that's proper for this little gal. So I'm showing you this because I painted it a size you may not have chosen. I'm going to show that to you right now. I have to look at it clear from across the room because it's not even showing all of the doll's legs, and it's 6 feet tall. The canvas is 6 feet tall. It's a 5-foot by 6-foot canvas. Now that may be that you think I chose the wrong size canvas, but it was right for the artist, which was myself. And I liked it being this size. So here you can see some detail. It lets me play with the brush strokes and the colors and the little sections of things. And I just like to paint this way. I find it very pleasant and enjoyable. So, is that the right size? Well, in one way it is, apparently. Now, the reason I feel like I can know that I like to paint large like that is because of the experience I had with this little landscape. Was this the right size canvas? I think it was not. I painted this little painting. This is not the original, it's gone, but this reproduction, giclée on canvas, is the same size. It's a 20 by 16 inch little painting. And when I got done with it, I was just so frustrated. I just couldn't believe it. I didn't like it. I just was so uncomfortable with it. I was emotionally bothered by this painting. And I just came to the conclusion, I just don't think I'll even bother with landscapes again. They're just not my thing. So the fact that it had this lovely reflected color and the slight ripple in the water and the nice cliffs back here on the mountain in the canyon and the nice shadows and the green pine trees back up there and the Quakies giving us the gold here, none of that seemed to satisfy me, and I just was frustrated. And then within days of having it scanned and a print made the same size, a gal came in and she bought this painting. I mean, she just loved it, and she didn't hesitate. She just bought it, just straight up. And I, well, okay. And hate to make people buy inferior stuff. You know, I'm just having this attitude about it. And then within days, another gentleman came in and saw the print and thought, and he expressed himself, he would like to buy this. And I says, okay, it says it's a reproduction, it's a giclée print. And he says, oh, no, I just buy originals. And he would have purchased it had it been an original. So I was baffled. I'm thinking, what's going on here? The other people like it. I have a problem with it. What's wrong with me? And so I came to the conclusion that this beautiful scene, this lovely, rich scene of nature, I should have been painted this big. It should have been 4 foot by 5 foot like this jar is. But in my emotional state, I had crammed it onto this little 16 by 20 canvas. And so it was not the right size canvas for me. It was the right size for the other people, but it wasn't the right size for me. So it can be questionable whether something's the right size or not the right size. But I certainly prefer a larger canvas. So that's why the doll worked well for me, large. So whether or not that's the case with you, that's just the point. You need to find out who you are and discover what really works for you. So if you're, say, a person that likes to paint the same size canvas all the time, like here's some more 16 by 20s. I don't do 16 by 20s very often. There's 3, there's 1. And if I was doing the same size canvas all the time, well, great, I could buy them in bulk. I could buy the frames that go around them in bulk. I could be really efficient with my funds that way. And that might be really important to me. If it's really important to you, then great, do it. Then that would be the right size for you. Not for me, but it would be for you. So here's a painting I did of a American bald eagle. I wanted to represent the American bald eagle as a life-size mature bird on canvas. So now the image and my goal dictate the size of the canvas, at least to some degree. I could have made it wider or taller, but it had to be at least this wide, 82 inches, so that those nice finger feathers could be out there and the bird be full size. And then it could come right at us like that. Oh, what a dynamic bird. Then I put Snow Basin, the local mountain, behind it so that I can call this painting's Purple Mountain's Majesty. So, is that the right size? Who knows? It is for me. Now, on the other hand, you might be a person that likes to paint small paintings. You might even be one of these artists that are doing something small like this, a little 5 by 7, one a day. And then you've got, after 10 days, you've got quite a few, and you can do a drop on TikTok. And that can work really well for you. As a rule, I like painting large paintings. I just like the visual impact that large paintings have. It can be impressive and very enjoyable. It just really resonates with my soul. So, but also I paint small paintings, and I do it for several reasons. One of the reasons is because sometimes I accommodate a lower budget. I just have some things available for people that don't want to spend the money on a large painting. Other times I accommodate somebody who's running out of wall space and they need something smaller in a room. And other times I've had clients that want to have a series of the same subject matter, and they just want little paintings in that subject matter, and so I'll accommodate that. But one of the interesting things to me about a larger painting is, in effect, you can think of it as not one large painting, but a series of small paintings. And this one I'm about to show you, it's a medium-sized painting, and it fits in that category. It's really interesting to have painted this painting. I enjoyed it very much. So if you look at this, and say somebody comes in and they ask me, did you paint this painting? And I said, did I paint this? I think to myself, no, I didn't paint this. What I painted was like this boy's head. Look at that ear and that wet hair. Look at that face looking down in the reflected light, the colors on it. Look at that little hand, that thumb, and the worm. That was fun. And look at that nice warm tone down his arm here. And it's creamy here. And then on its back, it's kind of green and cool in color. It's just unique what's going on in this boy's skin. And I painted that little ripply tummy there in the creamy color of reflected light on his side, and that wet swimming suit. Now there's a painting right there. That pocket's a painting. And you come down and you look at these toes and these wet feet. Look, there's a painting just right there in this ankle. There's a painting right there. There's a painting right here in these toes. Look at that toe over there. And then these nice heels and this grouping of legs. You come up here, here's another painting. Look at those goggles. That was fun. That little nose and that bent over ear and the puffed up cheeks. Kind of cute. Look at this fun little expression this gal's got. She's kind of wondering about that other girl there. Yep. There's a hidden hand in there. There's a girl that's feeling a bit cold. Completely different skin colors. Look at this gal. I'm not sure she believes she's going to survive jumping off that diving board, but she's going to give it a chance. She's going to try it. This boy's off in his own world, grabbing his elbow like that. So anyway, it's like a combination of smaller paintings that create a larger painting. A larger painting sometimes, well, they take longer, of course, and as a result, they take more time, longer amount of concentration and dedication, and offer fewer of those euphoric moments that we love when we finish something and we can say, wow, look what I did. Look what I have accomplished. It's just fun to experience that and feel that. And still, I relish the feeling I get from the visual power of a large painting. I just like that. So I put up with the amount of time it takes to go and go and go, and sometimes it can seem laborious, get halfway through a painting and you think, boy, I can't wait till this one's done. You know, it happens every time. And yet, it's the right size for me, so I like it. Now, another thing we're going to do is now we're going to clip off and go to that office of my clients. It could be a house, could be an office. This happens to be an office. And we're going to show how you can use paper patterns and put them on the wall to let a client see various sizes and see which works the best for the space and for how they feel about it, what they're comfortable living with. And so we're going to do that now. But first, I'm just going to ask you to subscribe and make comments. I really like comments. I appreciate any input I can get so that I can give back more and help you as much as I possibly can with these videos. I've got a lot of experience, and I might as well make your journey easier. So I appreciate you tuning in, and now we'll clip off and go to the office. Thanks. All right. So typically, when we're going to do a commission for a client, we can figure out the size that the painting's going to be just right in the studio. We can just talk about it and figure it out. It just works out simply. But on occasion, it's kind of helpful to go to a person's house. I remember one time, this gal thought she wanted a 4 foot by 3 foot painting in her house by her piano, and we ran the tape measure up, and I thought, let's go up to 6 feet. And she's, oh no, that's way too big. And then we brought it back down to the smaller size, and she thought, oh, it does need to be 6 foot. Because she had pretty high ceilings, and it really ended up nice in her house to be a 6 foot painting, which is what we of course did. But this time, today in this office, we're going to actually, I've had paper patterns printed in various sizes because we have this lovely big wall, and I thought, wow, that'll accommodate a nice big painting. So I even suggested that we do this life-size portrait of the same person in the painting 4 times. He's associated with an animated movie called the Swan Princess. Anyway, life-size would have been really cool, but just to see for sure what size would work best in here for the space and it being comfortable in the room, I had at FedEx printed out and take back together 3 pattern sizes. So here's the biggest one. So you can see that this really is kind of big for this space. I mean, it would fit on the wall, but it's a little bit much. Even though it's fun, the whole concept is fun, it doesn't need to be that large to express that funness. So I brought 2 other sizes. We'll show the next size. Let's see, I presume I need this stool, maybe I don't. It's kind of nice, you can just get a black and white print made at FedEx. And just test it on location. So we'll not use the stool. They're sort of straight. All right, let's roll it out and see how this one will look on the wall in this office longer term. Let's see here. All right, so now you can see that this doesn't take up this entire wall, but it's still pretty good size. It's a pretty big painting. It could be fun. You could get away with that sort of a size. It's definitely different than that size. Let's see what the 3rd size is. It's always nice to give your client 3 options because it's nice to have choices, but not too many choices. It could get a little bit confusing and lead to discomfort if we have too many choices sometimes. So we'll see how this size goes. So this one is, I should have told you the sizes of these, but oh well. This one's 48 inches by 80 inches. So perhaps you can back off and kind of scan between these 2, and we'll see that it's pretty big. And that's a good size painting right there, 48 by 80 inches. But it's a little more comfortable in the space as well. So rather than using this size or that size, this, having the actual image, even though it's in black and white and just on butcher paper, gives the client opportunity to physically see the options. So it's kind of a nice way to present them. So we can again compare it to this one, where this was not quite life size, but it's getting close. And life size sounds fun, but you still need to be able to live with it. So anyway, just thought I'd share that with you as an option for being able to show a client what their image would actually be like spatially on their wall.